Attention, please. The views expressed on this show are taken from the Word of God. They do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of this station, their staff, management, or advertisers. However, they are beginning to come around. Please. The information given you on this broadcast could save your life. Listen with care.
Well, I'll get to that.
God wouldn't like this.
Good morning, Austin, and welcome to the Atheist Experience. My name is Ray Blevins. It's my co-host, Joe Zamecki, and this week's guest, Julie Fisher. As always, we'd like to start out with a few announcements and just remind everybody we are 90 minutes, and we'll be taking your phone calls live on the air. You see this week's topic there is going to be tolerance. We have a lot of news articles coming on about intolerance in the news this week. A few announcements of the group, Atheist Community of Austin. We meet every Sunday down at the Hot Jumbo Bakery down on 5th and Lavaca. And it's free and open to the public. I always like meeting new faces. And we just got done with, I just told them it was 90 minutes.
Now, what time do we meet?
Oh, we meet, thank you, right, at 11 o'clock. As soon as we get done here with the show, we run down to the bagel shop. We just had our quarterly blood drive. And so we should be getting that in the mail here, our total. So if there's any atheists out there that need help, feel free to call us there. Our voicemail will come flying up through here shortly on that. And I can't think of really any other announcements for the group.
November 20th, the week of November 20th, UT Skeptical Society is doing a series of debates to finish up on that Friday, the 20th.
And we plan on being there. It's not really our group event, but we definitely there to support them. Okay, I'd like to go on to the news article. The one I found this week that just blew me away is this picture here. And which camera am I on here? And there you go. That's 100,000 people showed up at this farm in Georgia. And we can show, there's two pictures. Nancy Fowler's farm in Conyers, Georgia, to hear the last of the annual messages. The homemaker says she relays from the Virgin Mary. Fowler said that Mary has visited her on earlier in the day and inside her small farmhouse about 30 miles east of Atlanta. Her basic message was, the future holds no concern for those who truly seek God and truly love Him and remain in His favor. Then the picture at the bottom is the one that really blew me away. That's actually a statue and to the Lady of Fatima. So they're actually having an icon of someone there in Italy that supposedly else talked to the Virgin Mary. It just blows me away. So these people are actually praying to this statue, who's actually of a human over in Italy. And that's my understanding.
Italy?
Yeah. And then where Fatima is?
Fatima?
France. I'm sorry. You're right, France. So
I didn't even say in there. That's not a very good article, though. They don't give much
that's all the information. I wanted to get on the internet and get more information, because that's 100,000 people. The logistics involved. They show all the bathrooms back there.
Oh, that's them. Yeah.
Somebody's making money. So they're selling stuff there, I'm sure. And I'd love to hear more if any of our callers know anything about that. I'd love to hear more about this woman to find out who's making all this money and all that. So let's go to Joe. Joe brought in a letter from the editor that he thought was pretty good.
Letter to the editor from Catherine Farringer. Yeah, and she's talking about what's been going on in Comfort, Texas, which we'll talk about more a little bit here. But I'll go ahead and read it. The controversy concerning the Freethinkers Monument in Comfort, Texas, has brought the issue of atheism out into the open. So what if atheists have contributed to this monument? Atheists give money to fight cancer and other diseases, to promote animal welfare, to provide disaster relief, to help the poor, and many other causes. Perhaps no other word brings forth as much horror and hatred as so many misconceptions as this A word. Most people have never talked to an atheist about what they think and why they think it. Few have researched atheism other than from the believer's point of view. Most religious people just pass on the common misconceptions that were told to them. Atheists do not ask that you lose your faith. We only ask that you do not repeat lies, slurs, stereotypes about atheists and jump to conclusions about us. Atheists do not believe in gods, and yet they are generally happy, moral, responsible people with families and jobs and friends. I don't know how many times I've heard that atheists cannot have a basis for morality, or are arrogant, or must be in despair about the pointlessness of life. Statements such as these indicate only that the speaker is not educated in this area and yet feels free to condemn atheists anyway. Just as we discourage people from thinking in stereotypes about blacks, women, Jews, and other minorities, we must encourage everyone to be fair in regards to atheists. Catherine Feringer's letter to the editor appeared yesterday in the Austin American Statesman. Thank you, Catherine.
Yes, well put. And from what I understand, Julie, you know Catherine, I guess. You just
yes,
said that?
I
Yeah.
do.
Yes. And I want to welcome Julie to the show. And you're part of the Hill Country Freethinkers. Or you have a title in the group? I'm sorry.
No, I'm a co-founder of the Texas Hill Country Freethinkers, but we're totally an organized group. We have no bylaws, no rules, no officers, no dues. I edit a newsletter and I organize the events. We're a non-group group.
A non-group group, okay. That's brilliant. But the reason you're here today is to talk about all the controversy going on in Comfort, Texas over this monument. And I'll just let you fill us in on a little bit of the history about it and everything else that's going on, if you don't mind.
Okay. You've probably heard that no good deed goes unpunished.
Yes.
Exactly.
Well, Ed Sharp, a freethinker in Helotes, came up with the idea of putting up a monument to honor the freethinker settlers of the Comfort area. And this is what it should look like when it's finished. Big limestone rock with a eagle on top and the historical plaque
Very nice.
in the middle.
Yeah.
And at one point, he talked to some of us in the Hill Country Freethinkers, and we thought it was a great idea and started raising funds and talking about it to different people. And word spread, everybody got excited, and everything was just going great until...
I might mention that the Atheist community also donated money too, also. Since you...
The Atheist Alliance, actually,
Is that? I thought we...
the entity that did
Well,
it.
Oh, I'm sorry. My
Okay.
mistake. I didn't mean to take credit where credit wasn't due. Sorry. Sorry, I interrupted
Okay.
you. But the whole point is that they had lots of donations and
Right,
from all over.
From all over. A lot of money was raised. The rock was put into the park. Can you
Vic.
see the rock?
Vic,
You can get a close up on that. It's about 12 or 13 feet high.
There's a child standing next to it
Limestone, yeah. Here's a little 5-year-old boy
Yeah.
standing beside it.
for scale.
and I heard 30 tons.
32 tons.
32
It's
tons.
A beautiful piece of natural cap rock limestone.
Excellent.
So everything was going fine. The Chamber of Commerce of Comfort had approved the project almost 2 years ago. The Heritage Foundation was accepting the money, the contributions into their account to handle it for us, the different contributors.
Right.
And then we expected to have a dedication of the rock on October 4th. But instead, some of the current residents of Comfort got riled up about this. It could be that they didn't quite realize what freethinkers were and what their freethinker ancestors were all about. At any rate, they wrote up a kind of hilarious petition or two and signed up people who came out against what they called an atheist, a monument to atheism. And they've kind of skewed the whole story of what is going on, what this is about, to such a degree it's hard to correct all the misconceptions. But at this point, the Chamber of Commerce, catching all this flack from certain Comfort citizens, decided to stop the project as it is. They have requested that Ed Sharp remove the rock from the park, but on the other hand, they did set up a committee of local people to go on with the project, to sort of reevaluate it, start from scratch, figure out what it is they do want.
All right. It's such a shame, because like from what a little bit of history I know about it, they went. This thing's been going for months. These people knew about it, and there's people from the historical society that actually proved this and everything else, and just somebody tagged the word atheist to it, and these people are totally lost it there. I don't understand. It just blows me away. We do have a caller on the line. Do you mind me seeing what they have to say here? And we'll get Pete.
Yes.
Can you turn your TV down, please?
Good morning.
Hello?
Good morning.
Pete, caller.
Can you hear me?
No, I
I'm
guess
gonna
not.
put you back on hold then. While we're having technical difficulties there, caller. I put you back on hold.
When you call us, turn your TV down. It'll be a lot easier. Thanks.
All right. Let's go. Continue on there. I'm sorry about that. And, we will take your phone calls live on the air. That is our number. This is October 18th.
Yep.
And I want to make sure and tell everybody that it is live and it is the 18th, and you never know what's going to happen here. Okay, go ahead, Julie. I'm sorry.
Well, we also don't know what's going to happen with the rock.
Good lead in, yes.
The chamber asked for it to be removed. However, they haven't set a date for that, and this new committee may well decide that they like the rock, because I don't think the rock itself was really the issue. Most people who have seen it were just impressed with it so much positively.
Right.
I've heard from so many people, artists and all sorts of creative people, as well as just your run-of-the-mill folks, believers, non-believers. It didn't matter. They're all been favorably, or most have been favorably impressed with the rock. There are a few exceptions, of course. The flack that the rock is taking, I think, is just that these the dissidents, the petition people, have associated with it with atheism, and people think the rock is against atheism.
Can I ask real quick, is the word atheism mentioned on there at all? The way it's supposed to be worded, the way the city council or the Chamber of Commerce agreed to it, yeah, was it mentioned on there? No.
Well,
Freethinkers were, but not atheists or atheism, is that correct?
right. The word
And
atheism.
Ed Sheriff had worked on this for 2 years, and he got the approval of the council, the Chamber of Commerce, and long before this controversy. But now it's no good. It's unacceptable.
Right.
Well, it's a shame. It was a really nice thought and really nice idea. I hope he doesn't have to pay for it to be removed.
Yeah, I guess that's part of the discussion on who's actually going to pay to move it.
That's part of it. Who owns this rock, and who would pay to move it? But I have heard that there is someone in the town of Comfort who has offered us another place on private property to put the rock if it has to be moved. So one way or another, the rock will be in Comfort.
Yes.
We will have a monument to those early freethinkers.
Great.
And
Why don't you give us a little bit of information on why there's actually, because there was like 160 of them got killed, or I forget the exact number. I'm sorry. I should have studied more before I came in today. Tell them a little bit why we want the monument for them.
well, the incident you're talking about is during the Civil War. These people came from Europe and were not Bible believers, and therefore did not support slavery in any way. And then when they got here, after a while, turned into a big issue here. And some of them ended up fighting for the South, some of them ended up fighting for the North, and some just tried to get out and stay neutral. One small band was on its way to Mexico and were attacked by Southern forces and massacred. And there's a True to Union monument already in Comfort that commemorates the 30-something men that were killed in that massacre. This monument is, and we're using the word cenotaph, which means a monument that does not have bodies under it. It's to commemorate all of those freethinkers, settlers. They were all very special group. Unlike most other immigrants that came to this country, they were a very intellectual group, very educated, very into culture. They believed in secular education, equal rights long before it was common. Do we have a caller?
No, that's what my floor manager is telling me, and there's no lights on. I don't have anything on. Sorry, and
We are live.
okay. We're talking tolerance here, but you're talking about it looks like we have some time now. And if you'd like to read this, we do have enough time. From Robert Ingersoll?
Yes, now this isn't about tolerance.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to mislead the viewers. I'm sorry.
Okay, this is a little different subject. This is a lot of people who believe in religion just think if you lose your faith, just your life is going to fall apart. You're going to feel so awful. And some people do go through a hard time, and a lot don't. This is apparently how Ingersoll felt.
Excellent.
Okay. When I became convinced that the universe is natural, that all the ghosts and gods are myths, there entered into my brain, into my soul, into every drop of my blood, the sense, the feeling, the joy of freedom. The walls of my prison crumbled and fell. The dungeon was flooded with light, and all the bolts and bars and manacles became dust. I was no longer a servant, a serf, or a slave. There was for me no master in all the wide world, not even in infinite space. I was free. Free to think, to express my thoughts, free to live to my own ideal, free to live for myself and those I loved, free to use all my faculties, all my senses, free to spread imagination's wings, free to investigate, to guess and dream and hope, free to judge and determine for myself, free to reject all ignorant and cruel creeds, all the inspired books that savages have produced, and all the barbarous legends of the past. Free from popes and priests, free from all the called and set apart, free from sanctified mistakes and holy lies, free from the fear of eternal pain, free from the winged monsters of night, free from devils, ghosts, and gods. For the first time, I was freed. There was no prohibited place in all the realms of my thought, no air, no space, where fancy could not spread her painted wings. No chains for my limbs, no lashes for my back, no fires for my flesh, no master's frown or threat, no following another's steps, no need to bow or cringe or crawl or utter lying words. I was free. I stood erect and fearlessly, joyously faced all worlds. And then my heart was filled with gratitude, with thankfulness, and went out in love to all the heroes, the thinkers who gave their lives for the liberty of those who died in dungeons bound with chains, to those who proudly mounted scaffold stairs, to those whose bones were crushed, whose flesh was scarred and torn, to those by fire consumed, to all the wise, the good, the brave of every land, whose thoughts and deeds have given freedom to the sons of men. And I vowed to grasp the torch that they held and hold it high, that light might conquer darkness still.
Excellent.
Very nice.
That was Robert Ingersoll.
That gives me goosebumps.
Well put, yes. Thanks for sharing that with us. We are live October 18th, and I don't know if we got the phone calls worked out or not, so please try and call us here. We have several things going here. I don't know if you want to go ahead and do Unsung Atheist Hero.
Well, I'll tell you what, yeah, I can go and do that, sure.
Yeah.
Why not? Mary, feel free to call us also. She calls every week.
That's our regular caller.
Okay, every week I do a little bit I have here called the Unsung Atheist Hero or Heroine of the Week, and my pick for this week is Joseph Lewis, who is a writer and a separationist. He was born June 11, 1889 in Montgomery, Alabama, into a large Jewish family. He became an atheist when he was very young, studying the works of Robert Ingersoll, Thomas Paine, and other Freethinkers. He had to quit school at 9 years of age to work, but thoroughly educated himself in American history and constitutional law. He moved to New York City in 1920 and quickly was elected president of Freethinkers of America. Okay, every week I do a little bit I have here called the Unsung Atheist Hero or Heroine of the Week, and my pick for this week is Joseph Lewis, who is a writer and a separationist. He was born June 11, 1889 in Montgomery, Alabama, into a large Jewish family. He became an atheist when he was very young, studying the works of Robert Ingersoll, Thomas Paine, and other Freethinkers. He had to quit school at 9 years of age to work, but thoroughly educated himself in American history and constitutional law. He moved to New York City in 1920 and quickly was elected president of Freethinkers of America, serving in that position until his death in 1968. He established that organization's own publishing house called Free Thought Press Association, which published lots of free thought books. His first book was The Tyranny of God in 1921, but his most famous was The Bible Unmasked in 1926. He also published such atheistic books as Voltaire, The Incomparable Infidel, The Bible and the Public Schools, In the Name of Humanity, An Atheist Manifesto, and The Ten Commandments. For many years, Lewis promoted the works of Thomas Paine and wrote a play about Paine's struggles in America and France called The Tragic Patriot. Lewis worked tirelessly to have 3 sculptures of Paine erected, one in New Jersey, one in Paris, and one in Paine's hometown, Thetford, England. Lewis engaged in several federal lawsuits focusing on the separation of church and state. He tried to have the phrase "under God" stricken from the Pledge of Allegiance, and he protested the post office's official celebration of Thanksgiving and the issuance of Christmas stamps. He also led a campaign against New York's released time policy, which allowed public school children weekly periods for religious instruction. Joseph Lewis lived his later years in New York and broadcast free thought lectures over the radio until his death in November 1968. Atheists can share his writing today, as much of his books are still very popular and well circulated among the free thought community. And we like to have a quote. Every week I have a quote from this particular person, and this week's quote, Joseph Lewis, quote, "The trouble with most ministers of religion is that they have been steeped in hypocrisy and sophistry, and that they cannot understand what intellectual integrity means. They are so accustomed to mental lying as a measure of success that they cannot understand what prompts a man to prefer to be true to himself, who prefers to tell the truth for the truth's sake, rather than gain public recognition by being a hypocrite," unquote. Joseph Lewis, my unsung atheist hero or heroine of the week. Thank you.
You're welcome. I appreciate you bringing that. Looks like we do have Mary on the line.
All right, Mary, thanks a lot.
Let's try the phones again. Good morning.
Good morning. I had to call this morning. I had to call you because I get up early every Sunday to do my laundry, and I turn on C-SPAN. It's just a habit.
All right.
I like to know what they're doing.
Exactly.
Know your enemy is a good policy. But Robert Bork was up there, the guy that they were supposed to make a Supreme Court justice a few years ago, and he was so bad that they couldn't pass him off on anybody.
Right.
He didn't make it. Well, he's up there, and he's making a speech to somebody at some university saying that he's quoting Andre Malraux, which he wrote that book, Man's Fate, which is kind of a good book because it's great French literature and all of that, and there's something to be learned from it. But he said that Malraux said that the century following the 21st century is going to be either a century of religion or no century at all. I don't know what he meant by that, but it's not very cheerful.
That's
and it
true.
kind of made me feel bad because Robert Bork, essentially what he was saying was that it's the same old thing that has offended me all my life. He said that there can be no real morality without religion. And, I've had to fight that fight all my life because I'm really basically a good person. I've never killed anybody. I've never stolen unless I really needed to, and then I didn't steal anything personal. It was something, probably food. But I'm just really a good person, and I got there because of my thoughts, because of how I think, because of what I value. And it really profoundly insults me when people take it that I'm a good person because of God, because of religion. When I had to fight that off to not become a corrupt person. I've had to live a secular life to have a chance at real freedom and real intelligence and my own thoughts and to make myself into the kind of person I want to be. Which I wanted to be a good person just because I wanted to make the world a better place. The more good people you put into the world, the better place it's going to be. And it just really, it depresses me when people look at me and say, well, you've got to be religious because you're such a good person. I'm not. I really don't care about the power trip. I just want to live a decent life.
Yes.
And that's all I've got to say.
Well, I appreciate you calling.
Well, thanks for being there.
Yes.
Bye.
Good day.
Take
Bye.
care. Yes.
Regular caller.
Mary, yes. We haven't met her yet. We'd love to meet her sometime. And she went. It sounded like she agreed with Robert Ingersoll there quite a bit about how she's free from all the intolerance of the religious community itself.
Of heresy on 3 counts.
Thank you, Marilyn. Okay, very good.
Our sound guy stuck in something. I didn't get to hear it. Yeah, he usually sticks in little comments there. They're pretty good. And I'm sorry, Arlo, we didn't get to hear that one.
Shut up! Accused of heresy on 3 counts.
There you go. You heard that one. Thank you. We are live October 18th. We love hearing from everyone. Would you? You want to go with some superstitions?
Sure, we don't have any calls right now.
Sure.
Talking about superstition, here we go. In Houston, Texas, 6 people believed to be illegal immigrants from Mexico were hit and killed early Monday by a freight train as they slept on a desolate stretch of tracks in South Texas. Officials said they believe the immigrants may have been victims of a superstition that the rails would keep them safe from snakes. There's a myth that if you sleep between the rails, that snakes will not get you. You go down the railroad tracks and you'll see snakes cut in half, said a spokesman from Union Pacific. I think what it is they've seen snakes who have tried to cross when a train was there, but of course when a train is not there, what's going to cut them in half? Well, that's where the superstition kind of ties in. I see comparisons between that and, say, Christianity or something else, where something that's not there can be a whole lot more important and threatening than reality itself. But these people trusted in that superstition. I don't know why they couldn't have just gone somewhere else, though, away from the tracks, some shelter or something.
They had 6 of them there. Why didn't they take turns
watching out?
Watching for the train, yeah.
The train and the snakes.
Train
watch
and
out for both.
snakes. Yeah, there you go.
Snakes will cross railroad tracks, though. That's okay.
The topic today has to do with tolerance, and Julie's here discussing the cenotaph there in Comfort, Texas. I'm from Indiana, and there's a place called Mount Comfort, and I have a bad habit of sticking Mount in front of the name Comfort there. Sorry. Any other personal anecdotes or anything else you might like share with us about intolerance?
One thing that just happened. There have been articles about this controversy in lots of the local papers, and a lot of people have written letters to the editor about it. But yesterday I was reading in one of the Bernie papers a column written by a pastor in that area, and I just happened to read it because the column was titled, "Is Atheism Really Freethinking?"
I think that sounds familiar.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Oh, it was probably just in that paper. Anyway,
Of
the
course.
writer made some statements like, atheism isn't freethinking because atheism is the absence of thought.
Huh?
And
It's not a thought.
That's pretty good.
and then he quoted the part of the Bible in the Old Testament where it says, a fool shall say there's no God.
Yeah, we've heard that one on this show many
We've had
times.
several callers quote that one.
I think that's a rather foolish statement.
I wrote a letter back, I don't know if it'll be published or not, mentioning how in the New Testament Jesus says that people who call others fools are good candidates for hell. But I thought that column was such a good example of how no one, no matter how nice they are, or if they're a leader of people like that pastor, no one seems to feel like there's a need to be tolerant to non-believers, to atheists. It's okay in our society just to say whatever you will, as nasty as it may be, and if there's utterly no facts behind it, you can say that, and everyone except us.
Of 2 personalities, Lord help us.
Okay, thank you.
I think
We do have actually a topic of tolerance in the news lately. Matthew Shepard.
Right.
Do we want to talk about that for a minute?
Well, we can. Vic's wanted to editorialize
Sure.
it, so you want to bring him in?
You know, I'll go ahead and let him have my mic, and I'll take his camera.
Okay.
If you want, we can do a close-up on this cartoon you brought in, Vic.
No, that's quite all right. Well, everybody's been hearing in the news here about Matthew Shepard, the gay student that got beat up and hung on a fence for like 18 hours and died. There's been a lot of news about the church leaders that are protesting, who are actually protesting at his funeral. And Vic brought in the news article and has his own editorializing that he'd like to do about this.
What really got to me, it's just this one article that I had. What really got to me was what I saw on television. Was this guy from Topeka, Kansas, named James Hockenbarger. I hope I pronounced that right. Really, I don't care if I pronounced it right. Went to this guy's funeral with a sign and a bunch of people, and they were shouting across the fence that your son's going to hell. Had a sign that said AIDS cures fags. He didn't die of AIDS. He got beat by a bunch of Christians. So it really infuriates me that that the Bible gives them permission. It's a mechanism of hate. It gives them permission to do this. And it's in, I had it written down in that piece of trash, but the cartoon, you can do this on this cartoon. This is a cartoon that was in the American Statesman by Ben Sargent, and it perfectly describes the whole thing. And you can't read it on this, so I'll read it to you. It says, it's got some little, I guess they're Quakers or something, Puritans is what it is. Plus they got the little Republican elephant standing back behind there, and there's this little noose that says hate, and there's blood off of it. And the thing is, says, well, homosexuality, you know, is just a disease. It's just an aberrant lifestyle, la-da. And that's perfect description of it. That's what you get from the Bible. You get a reason and a permission from God to hate and to kill. And now that I've vented, I'm happy, and I'm going to get out of here. Give Joe his seat back.
Okay. Hang on.
Wait.
Got a point. No,
That's my response. When people, like Mary was saying, when people say, oh, but you've got to have religion to be a moral person.
I've never in my life had religion. I rejected Christianity at about the age of 8. First time someone told me God created you, I'm like, say what? And I've never fallen into the trap of religion. It's insanity. It's an absurd notion that some outside force.
You would never see an atheist at a funeral protesting.
No, you would never go. I would never go to someone's funeral and try to upset their parents as these people did. This was just horrible. You should be ashamed of yourself. And all you Christians should be ashamed of this particular person. Yes. Okay, now I've vented.
Okay, no. Well, let's see what the caller. We have a caller.
Okay, go ahead.
Who knows? I might have a question for you. Good morning.
Good morning. You know what? I think that is so ridiculous that where are the people protesting against the Christians? I mean, that's ridiculous.
Why are not people protesting against Christians?
Where are the people that are protesting against the Christians?
Good point.
Yeah.
Where's humanity and Christianity? For some of their fellow leaders to kill somebody else because of his sexuality. They're not having sex with him. What should they worry about?
Excellent point.
There's a long list of stuff in the Bible for Christians to hate, or for Christians to hate. And if you read, Exodus 20, I think 21 or 21 has a whole long list of stuff to kill people for.
And contradictions in the Bible. I don't read any of it.
Yeah, well, I read parts of it because of this, just to find out something, and I was sickened by it. If anything needs to be banned as what's the word? Obscenity. Yeah, that's a good start.
So what happened one day? Somebody just picked up this book and said, "This is what we're going to try to live by."
Actually, a bunch of guys got together in about 325 AD and decided that all these different little books, we'll put them together and we'll call it the Holy Bible.
I think they were smoking too much peyote. I mean,
if they'd have been smoking a little more peyote, they'd be more peaceful.
They say that God loves everybody, but then they reprimand against homosexuals.
Yeah, well, God loves everybody that they love. Because it's their God, they created him.
I mean, when I heard about that article, that the gay boy, the student.
Right.
Yeah. I was watching
Matthew Shepard.
How Ellen, what's her name? DeGeneres.
Ellen DeGeneres. Yeah, I saw that.
She was at a protest for it, and it was a really heart-touching show. I mean,
I missed that, and
the people would stand up for just one person when there was like a whole religion, a whole family of religion saying that was wrong, that person was in the wrong, the person that died.
Going to hell.
And it had nothing to do
Yeah, he didn't get killed by AIDS. He was beaten to death.
And a man I work with thinks that AIDS is completely the homosexual's fault.
Oh, yeah, sure it is. Uh-huh.
Derived from homosexuals. And I'm like, oh, so all these poor straight people that are having sex with anybody unprotected are just poor victims.
It's a virus. It has nothing to do with God. That they just using it as an excuse to lambast people that they don't like.
Well, I appreciate you calling. You have any other points?
No, that's... Y'all have a great show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
All right, and you have a great day too. And like I said, Atheist Community of Austin, we meet every Sunday after we leave here from the show. If anybody would like to come down and see us there in person, thank you, Vic. And
welcome.
I appreciate your opinion there on that. Thank you. And so that's a perfect example of intolerance from the Christian community there.
I wanted to say a couple things about it.
And you have...
I had a comment.
Okay, and Joe's now coming back onto the scene here.
I believe the church you're referring to is a Westboro Baptist Church.
Correct.
And they have a website, and it's perfectly horrible. It's just like their protests, in bright color with those terrible signs. But and it also documents when they go to funerals and cemeteries and do this so-called protesting. Well, American Atheists is one of the groups. Actually, there's been a couple of groups, but they're one of the groups that have protested the Westboro Baptist Church when they show up. And at one of these pickets, it was rather interesting because, as you know, Westboro Baptist Church is actually one large family, and it is like 9 or 10 people, and
That
kids
run the whole
included.
thing?
Yeah, and when they protest somewhere, that's all you see is 8 or 9 people, kids included, carrying signs and singing and stuff. And well, this protest, particularly, I forgot where it was from, where they were picketing, but they were on a field, and there was a street, and then there were protesters, probably 5 times as many, protesting the Westboro Baptist Church people. And there was a line of police in between, and you could just see these poor police officers. You could see it in their eyes. What they're thinking is like, you know, if it isn't the Klan, it's the Christians, and of course they don't have this problem when atheists picket, something like that. But we have already picketed them, and we're going to do it again. So anyway, just wanted to add that.
Yeah, because she did ask about that, where the protesters were, so it's nice to know that American Atheists are out there trying that. Let's try another call here. Mike?
Yeah, how are you?
Excellent.
Got a lot to talk about.
Sure.
I was raised very hard-shell Southern Baptist. Played the piano and the organ for years in the church. And I was playing for a church in Round Rock when the Southern Baptists came out with I'm also gay.
All right.
The anti-gay platform that they had. So I just walked out of the church, you know, and years ago I decided that it's okay to believe in God, it's okay to believe in Christ, it's okay to live that kind of life. It's just that you just don't force it on other people, just like gay lifestyle. You don't force it on other people.
True.
And you give them the options, you give them the choices. To me, being godlike is like loving your fellow man. That's all it takes. That's it. You don't have to follow all these rules. You don't have to do all these things. It's like keep your mind set with the natural forces. That's what I'm calling God. It's just the natural forces in the world, in the universe. And anyway, I've been through lots and lots of bigotry because of the gay area of my life. And I don't know if you remember, here in Austin was a guy named Weaver.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Do what?
What's his name?
Weaver?
What's his name?
His last name was Weaver. I can't remember his first name offhand, but he was very much like the family that you were just talking about, the church.
Right.
That they used to come out and picket everything that was gay in town until a lot of people found out that he had probably the largest pornography in town, the collection of pornography. He did it for research. He had it for research.
Yes, of course.
You know, a lot of things that, it's like, if Christians want to be loving, why don't they just be loving? There's been so much bloodshed over Christianity.
I agree.
That it's really, I've discovered, although I was raised that way and I'm a very peaceful person, I really like your just leave people alone.
That's what.
And leave everyone else alone.
So
and we'll all live happier lives.
So have you found a church that you go to, or have you given up on the church altogether?
Yeah, I was doing it because they paid me real well.
Oh. That's fine.
Years ago, I had given up the fact that, I asked my mother one time, I said, do you believe that there was ever somebody named Adonis, or that there was ever somebody named Venus who did all these miraculous wonderful things? She says, no, those are just myths, they're just stories. I said, but you can believe that a man died and then came back to life 3 days later. That's believable.
Yeah.
And then he turned water to wine, and then he walked on water, and then he did all these wonderful things. But you can't believe that somebody else did the same thing. That's really strange, don't you think?
Yeah, I don't understand where they put the dividing line between reality and fiction there. It's pretty blurred.
To them, there is no line, I don't think. It's like it's a wall. It's not even a line. It's a wall. It's like you believe our way or you don't go to heaven. And I believe in Buddha, great prophet, great seer of prophesying peace and love and brotherhood to mankind. But so did Muhammad, so did Krishna. I like their messages. I don't necessarily believe that they were wonderful, miraculous sons of God or anything. But I do like their message of love each other.
Exactly.
And that's all we need to do is just love each other. And in today's world, that's real hard to do. Just real hard to do. And it's mostly because of the right-wing radicals. Anyway, I don't want to take up all your time. I've enjoyed chatting with you, and I'll talk to you later.
You have a good day.
Thanks. You too. Bye-bye.
Actually, I had a comment on Christian love.
Go right ahead, Arlo. That's our sound guy, Arlo.
Yeah, it seems like with Christian love, they will be willing to love people after they win their war.
Yeah.
After they've turned everybody Christian and perhaps even killed off the heretics. Then they'll be loving. It's a long-term goal, not a short-term one.
Thank you.
Another comment, they brought up AIDS and homosexuality. When you see these reverends on TV bitching about it, you gotta call in and remind them that it's promiscuous homosexuality that they're talking about. You got to keep reminding them that monogamous homosexuality will have nothing to do with AIDS.
Excellent point. I appreciate it. Yes. Now I had a thought on the tip of my brain, and then it escapes me now. And darn it. But actually, we got Julie Fisher here talking about the cenotaph and everything else. Is there anything that we can do to get this thing back on track, or are they just waiting to hear from the council, or what's the next step on the cenotaph? Maybe?
I guess the next official word will come from the committee that the chamber set up.
Do they have any date set on when they're going to do a report or anything like that you know of?
No, I heard from the Chamber of Commerce president that he thought something would happen fairly soon. Their next meeting of the whole chamber is the 27th, I think, so we may have some word by then. A lot of the people, according to the president of the Chamber of Commerce, a lot of the people that signed the petition against the monument have said that the issues were misrepresented to them, and they'd like to get their names off those.
Misrepresented?
Off the petitions.
Wow.
And some of them were children.
Children?
So
signing a petition?
Had this lawyer and this other man going around and just telling everyone about this petition with probably up to 700 signatures now. But
how many people are in the Comfort? It's not that big.
Comfort, no, it's only about 1,500 people.
So that's really interesting, yeah. We do have some callers here. Let's try again here. Joy, I do appreciate you being here today. And Mike?
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning, and just wanted to thank you guys for having this show. It's great to have something to balance the Christian shows that we see all over the place. We can't
try.
Away from.
Thank you.
What I'm fed up with is the fact that most of these organized religions seem to prey off people's insecurities, and they build up these fears and these hates, and then they focus them for political agendas, and they end up passing laws and taking away our rights, so that we end up we can't even just enjoy the month of December without being slaughtered with Christian symbols and forced to buy things, or feel guilty because you didn't get presents for your kids. If you don't want your kids to be forced to believe in Christianity, you are. And it just drives me nuts. And it's like you can't say anything, because the second you try to speak up, then society condemns you because you're anti-Christian. And it's like, I don't care if people are Christian, but I really wish they would let me be what I want to be and let me raise my kids the way I want to raise my kids.
Yeah, this is supposed to be a secular nation, and it's hard to believe some days, because the Christian right there, or theocratic right, so well organized that they're taking over a lot of the elections and everything else. I had that article last week where I read they have a written agenda where they're trying to target elections and issues that have less than 15% voter turnout. So they only have to have 8% of the vote to win that, and that just blows me away that 8% of the people can decide what the rest of the nation is going to do.
Yeah, plus they're able to raise incredible sums of money to do whatever they want to do and not even pay taxes on it. It's like they're given special status among society, and then they can, of course, set the rules of society and judge us, and it really drives me nuts.
I appreciate your call.
Thank you.
You have a good day. Now we're starting to get now we're gonna it's starting to move along there. Okay. Whoops. Hang on. Patty?
Yeah?
Yeah, sorry about that. I hit two buttons at once.
I just have a question for the three of you. You look as miserable as the Christians.
We do? Sorry.
Sure do. Except for you in the pink, you look like you're on drugs or something.
In the what?
That's manly mauve. I don't wear pink. This is mauve.
Mauve, well.
But all of you read the Bible just as much as the Christians do. You try to argue with it, and you're based off of anger just as the Christians are.
I apologize for that. I've been told how nice the show is and how intelligent we come across.
Well, anyone can be nice when they're on like 20 milligrams of Valium like you are.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I am not doing anything but caffeine.
What's that?
Do that again, Arlo. We missed it.
Yeah.
You guys are just as miserable as the Christians.
No, I was talking to my sound guy. Sorry.
Thank you for your positive input.
And by the way, the only thing I'm on is caffeine.
Yeah, and you really sound happy yourself. What's that all about? I don't know.
And would you like to? Any other comments?
No, I just would like an answer to that.
I'm sorry.
I mean, the guy in the blue, he reads as much of the Bible as the crazy Christians that are out there.
I don't really like to read the Bible, but I have read it.
Mm-hmm.
We're charged with knowing about it, and especially when we talk about something they do.
But if atheists had something that you could, your life could be based off of a positive energy or anything to that nature. But when it's, that one guy that was on the phone, you switched your praying as begging, and that's crazy.
We got a bunch of them.
What's so crazy about that?
Well, it's just not positive. I don't agree with people going out and killing each other in the name of God or whatever. But anger turns me off, and any.
Well, I'm sorry, because the biggest majority of our callers.
I didn't mention God once, though, you idiot.
Now you call me
an idiot? Now that's not nice at all, is it? He must be a Christian.
No, I'm not a Christian.
Okay.
Why'd you call me an idiot?
I called him an idiot, the guy in the blue.
Okay, why?
Why'd you call Joe an idiot?
Because you took up a sign, take God and shove it, when I didn't mention God once since I called.
Oh, okay. Now
we think it's perfectly positive to put down something that is perfectly negative. So.
Well, I just thought I'd call and give you guys what you need, which is really just a fight, because the three of you are just so angry. Look at the woman on the end. She looks like the epitome of misery.
Now, she's our guest today.
Oh, come on. And, well, I do appreciate your call, though. And let Julie answer. Yeah, you sure can. Her name is Julie. Julie Fisher.
I am very unhappy about what has happened with this great project. Wouldn't you be unhappy about something like this if you had found a historical event that was deserving of being noted, and then you spent quite a few months of your life working on that project and putting substantial money into it, and
then have it totally twisted and misrepresented.
And then just because some of the contributors are atheists, these Christians just have torn this thing to shreds. They're talking about sending this rock to the To the dot.
You know, and it's crazy too, in light of what's happened to Matthew Shepard recently, I think that was a purely biblical punishment they gave him. I mean, you can find the same types of punishment in the Bible still today, uncensored, unembellished, and it's in there, and that's what they did. And this is a monument to some people who stood up against slavery, and it's being torn down. Well, we'll talk more about that. Thanks.
Okay, let's go to Sheila.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning. I had a question. We just moved here from another state, and my children are being bombarded with religious organizations within the high schools.
Yes.
I mean, is there some alternative that they can go to or something? You know, they meet people, and then it's like, will you go to Awana's with us? Will you go to our Baptist church? And my kids are like, well, I thought they were my friend, Mom. You know, it seems that there isn't any alternative.
Unfortunately, I don't know of any. How about you, Joe?
Alternative to public school? There shouldn't be. You should complain. You should speak right out. As soon as they start pushing that on you, that's what I'd be doing. And they are doing that to my kids, too, by the way.
Yeah, it's scary. It is.
It sure is.
They have Bible study before school. They have people handing out Bibles outside the high schools. You know, and my kids are just appalled by it. You know, they don't understand it because it is public education. You know, and unfortunately, by being in the minority of that belief, you know, people tend to put you to the side, you know, and I don't want my kids targeted.
Yeah, the feeling of being ostracized just to bringing it, for just bringing it up. You don't even have to say you're an atheist. You just bring up the fact, and hey, that's not supposed to be there. They're gonna, you know, automatically do that, and I appreciate the situation you're in. Unfortunately, I don't have any answers. Would you like to comment there, Julie? Have you run across this similar situation? No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I wanted to include you.
Not me personally, no.
Okay.
No, because I don't have any kids in school.
Okay. I just wanted to include our guests into the conversation. Is what I was trying to do. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. Anything else there, Sheila?
Well, do they have the right, you know, to create their own organization just like that? Or are they doing the same thing?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, there is a group in a middle school here in Texas, a public middle school, where it's student-initiated and student-formed group about an evolution group, right? Is that it? Science group of some kind?
It's skeptical.
What?
Joe, can I interrupt?
Here we go. Yes, please, clarify.
Yes, I'm a public school teacher myself at the school that you're mentioning, and just a couple points here. If those Bibles are being distributed on school property, that's against the law. Take your concern to the principal. If he doesn't act, he's breaking the law. As far as student groups, any student in a public school can request the formation of a club such as that, a free thought club, a tolerance club, whatever the kid chooses to name it. The key point is it has to be student-run and student-led. If they can find one sponsor, one teacher with even the slightest bit of sense, that teacher can act as a sponsor, and then the kids can have their own club to meet either before school or after school, just like this FCA group and other Bible study kids. They have the right to meet before and after school, as do the Freethinking kids. And so that's an option out there. All you need to do is get a couple kids at the school who are interested and find a sponsor, and there you go.
All right. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you for your call. You have a good day. All right, let's go on down to Pete.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are y'all doing this morning?
I don't know, we're having technical difficulties here.
Somebody's playing with the lights.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, about the placards the lady was talking about being put up.
Right, this in Comfort, Texas.
That just surprises me. I mean, I'm a Christian myself, but I'm like, if somebody wants to bring up something historic, then let it be. If it was something Christian, they were going to put it up, people opposed it, people would go berserk over that. And I'm like, let people do their ideas the way they want to do it. The bad thing about religion nowadays, like with the kids in school, if a person wants religion, they'll come to it on their own.
Right.
It's not going to be forced on them or beat over the head with it. And plus, you've got like the gentleman that is the Baptist minister in Topeka, Kansas, that went to protest that young man's funeral that was killed. That's the reason people are turned off from religion, because of hits like this. Instead of preaching, love your neighbor, which is basically in every religious sect in the world, which is Buddhism, Islam, or just everyday people. We're all taught that to respect others as well as you respect yourself. which is in the Bible saying, love thy neighbor as thyself.
Exactly.
Guys who teach this hatred and this moronic sense of I have to save you, that's what drives people away. I mean, because if I want, it's like a little kid, give a little kid medicine. If you force the medicine down the kid's throat, he's going to hate it every time. Let the kid take his medicine naturally.
I just got introduced to someone over the weekend, and they found I was an atheist, and it's like, I can fix you. And I was like,
I'm not broken.
There's nothing wrong with me. I couldn't believe it. That was their response. I can fix you. And so they're supposed to be calling the show today, so I'm hoping she does.
Well, in situations like that, that's the reason, like I said, people are turned off to religion, because they're telling you what's good for you. It's like people saying,
exactly.
Like Steve Allen with his, he wants to change TV. People watch what they want to watch. If they're not going to have the humor they want on one channel, they're going to switch to cable.
Exactly.
And, you know, people that are always trying to say, I can fix you, those are the people that have the biggest problems.
I think so. I agree with you 100% there.
What I think is a much better sentiment to say to somebody is, I can leave you alone.
Exactly.
How about that?
Well, have a good morning.
You too. Just remind everybody, this is live October 18th. Our guest is Julie Fisher. My name is Ray Blevins. My co-host Joe Zamecki. And we're on for 90 minutes, so we're going on until 10:30. And that's how you pronounce
Mauricio?
it? Mauricio. Mauricio?
Yeah, Mauricio.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello. Well, I'm watching you all. You look very interesting, intelligent people.
Thank you.
I'm a molecular biologist, and I believe in God. I understand your point about religion. I just don't understand your point of just going like God is make-believe and God doesn't exist.
Right.
What is it that you believe in? I mean,
things that make sense.
Start over. I don't like the word. I don't use the word believe.
Well, you have a little sticker there that says God is make-believe.
Right. So that it doesn't mean that I believe in a God. And the whole point is. And is your TV doing the feedback?
Can you turn your TV down, please?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, thank you.
No, I'm convinced with the scientific evidence that I've read and researched on my own and through the internet and books and everything else that the best answer that we have at this point with the information that we have, and we're constantly learning and refining those answers, I pretty much convinced that the matter is not created or destroyed. It's been here for infinity, and it will be for infinity. We're just in a flux right now between the Big Bang and the Big Crunch. But that same matter will always be here. It always has been, and it will always be. That's my own personal. Now, I'm not answering for every atheist in the group, and we'll probably get a different answer from these two people too.
Atheists defer to science instead of religion because science has a hell of a lot better track record, first of all. But it's very, very difficult for us to fathom irrational ideas being true. Anybody else?
Would you like to comment on that, Julie?
If something's real, you don't have to believe in it. It doesn't matter.
So
you could say I believe in the natural world just because I don't know another word to use there.
Yeah, I understand.
The natural world is there whether I believe or not. I don't have to have any faith.
Right.
So you just live your life here. According to you're just here. I mean, the only truth men really know is that one day they're born and one day they die.
True.
You know, I mean, so you think you're just being here, and one day you just disappear, and that's it, right?
Pretty much so. And
what's so wrong about the Bible? I've read the Bible, I've studied the Bible, and I don't really find anything wrong in the Bible. I mean, I understand religion as an organized institution, and the leaders of religion, since they're humans, they have errors. And they're kind of political too, and they have misguided the.
Well, it is no mistake that the Bible condemns us all to death, and as well as gays and lesbians, heretics, witches, people who work on Sunday. You know,
the amount of people. We had an excellent guest on. Jeff D. brought on the total number of people that have been killed because of religion. Well, actually, the number of people killed in the Bible alone, and it was millions of people. So that has a lot to do with our problem with the Bible. It is used by such evil people from Hitler, David Koresh, Jim Jones.
Exactly, I totally agree with you. But there's these people that manipulate the Bible and people's beliefs to create evil. You know, people need something to believe in, either in nothing or something. So they get these people to believe in the Bible and in God, and in the name of God, you have to kill. You know, it meant the holy wars. Right. You know, all these deaths in the name of like the Pope, and that's evil dressed up and using the Bible to misguide people. So we have all these people hating the Bible and using all this death and Christianity and all that. But you're missing the point that the Bible doesn't say anything like that.
Yes, it does.
Yes,
it commands you to kill.
Have you read the New Testament?
Yes.
Well, go ahead, Julie.
The God of the Old Testament is the same God in the New Testament. And in the Old Testament, in fact...
Look at the camera. You're looking at the phone.
Listen here. You really need to read that Bible again. The King James English throws people off a lot, and you can read some awful things.
Yes, I totally agree with you with the Old Testament. That's why they have a New Testament, which shows the new way.
Well, I think we all agree in general in education and life that the best way to teach someone is by example. And if you read the Old Testament and the way God behaved in the Old Testament, he was left and right, killing people, washing away the world when he didn't like the way people were acting.
Yes, I totally agree. That's totally wrong. And that's why Jesus Christ came to show the new ways. And in the New Testament, he said the new ways, which even says that if you even hate somebody, it's wrong. So
But he hated.
Talk about death, right?
That's not good enough.
That's not good enough.
That's a mess. Besides, he said a whole lot more contradictory things, contradictory to that.
You can't even, I'm not even convinced that there was a person called Jesus Christ even walked this earth. So to go and quote, some great deeds this mythical person did has no bearing on my life whatsoever.
Walking on water didn't help.
But according to the Bible, Jesus is the same God who did all those things in the Old Testament.
Yes. Getting a lot of feedback, though. I do appreciate your call. Please call again.
Hey,
thanks.
Please.
All right. Let's go on down the line to Ed.
Yeah, I was calling. There was a show or a program a few months ago on PBS called From Jesus to Christ.
Yes.
Yes.
I thought it was a really excellent program.
Oh, my, who's got my copy?
And I was wondering if you know if they're going to be showing that anytime soon, because I missed part of it. I think it was in 2 parts.
Yes, it was. That's actually part of our library, and so it's an excellent documentary there, made by the Frontline people, and
they'll probably show it again because it's so popular.
Yeah, I'm definitely sure. I have no idea when they're going to do it again. The interesting thing about that, they go through there and mention contradiction after contradiction after contradiction, but never once say that there was any doubt on whether or not this person existed. It just blew me away that they could say that.
I thought that it was really unbiased, and that's what I really liked about it, is that it really just put things out there and let people take it for what they wanted to,
Except for that one point. Except for that one point, this was produced by Christians, and they did start with the assumption that Jesus was a real person and that the Gospels are written about him.
Yeah, well, I guess for me that must have backfired on him a little bit, because after watching it, I was really impressed with how it just seemed like it was a cut and dried approach to the history of this man and how the myth became a myth,
right,
and the time period and all that stuff. And I
the actual
thought it was
history.
a really interesting show, and it was one of the better shows on that subject that I'd seen.
Yeah, and they went into the history about how the stories got written down.
Right.
The first ones didn't get written down for almost 70 years after he died.
Right.
So, it brought into question a lot of accuracy, but never once really said that, that there was any doubt on whether or not. It put a whole lot of doubt in my mind, which I had a lot to start with, but that tape is part of our library here at Atheist Community of Austin. So if any of our members who haven't seen it yet would like to see that.
Okay.
Any other comments?
Well, I just think that, we have the Dark Ages to thank for all that. They destroyed all the history of civilization. And,
a lot of it, yes.
Created their Bible.
Excellent point. All right, I appreciate your call.
Thank you.
You have a good day.
I'd like to make a comment on
You sure can.
caller before this one. They try to say that we're turned off by the atrocities, and yes, it's quite easy to be turned off by that. But for one thing, I'm turned off by the fact that, one, it's not true, even if it was fine and dandy. And that alone is really what turned me off of it, is just the fact that it's not true, and two, it's not useful.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Arlo. That was our sound guy, Arlo. It's going down to Francis.
I'm back.
Oh.
Zoom up on the sticker in front of mine.
Move up on the what?
The sticker in
Which
front
one?
of you. Yeah, what does it say?
Close up.
Okay, here. I'm sorry. One man's religion is the another.
Religion and school. Come on, people. School is for education. Church is for religion.
Excellent
If you want
point.
to practice your religion, go to your church. If you want to learn something, go to school.
You agree with us?
Yeah, and that's the lady that went off on you for reading the Bible.
Yes.
If you're gonna, it's like saying Miracle Whip is the most disgusting tasting substance on earth and never tasting it.
Yeah, there you go. You got to experience
I don't
it.
know what you're talking about if you're gonna talk about it.
Oh yeah, because they throw it in our face every day. And atheists read a lot of things, not just the Bible. And that's I think Christians base their whole the entire scientific community for anything and everything that I can find.
Christians do that to themselves. I got kicked out of my mother's house before, and in order to get back in with her, she said that we needed to go to counseling. And she didn't have much money, so the only counseling she could get was at her church. Can you imagine being counseled and mediated by a pastor?
Right.
Everything is either your fault or her fault, and it all falls into Christ's hands, which that's no sort of counseling at all. And why are you going to read this whole? Okay, I've never read the Bible from front to end. Judging from what y'all have said from the New Testament and the Old Testament, this guy sounds like he went through AA or through counseling or something and recovered and woke up one day and said, "Oh, wait, I was wrong for wiping out all of society because I didn't like it." I mean,
God, in other words, went to AA.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Needs to, I guess.
you know what I mean? Why? He got mad because nobody was listening to him, and
Yeah.
so he floods the place.
Okay, I see where you're going. But you brought an excellent point there. There's really no secular, the secular community is not out there the way the religious community is out there giving support and help to those people. And that's part of the reason for our group, is to let you know that there are atheists out there that are willing to help the community. Unfortunately, we didn't get organized well enough to do the AIDS Walk this year. We did the AIDS Walk last year. We was part of the Hate Crime March. So we try to contribute to Austin and let people know that atheists are out there willing to help.
Because I honestly, I don't consider myself part of any group. I consider myself me. I live for me. And when a person tries to push anything on me, I'm like, they're all, well, don't you believe in anything? Don't you have a reason for living? I was like, I don't know what the reason of living is. But I know that I'm here to enjoy something and to learn something. And that's what I'm going to do with my life.
It sounds like things are going real good for you now. Better?
They get better.
Okay. What?
If you put a positive attitude into anything, anything's good.
Excellent point.
Very good.
I appreciate your call.
Y'all have a great day.
You too. Excellent call. Let's go on down to David.
Yeah, though I may have a Judeo-Christian name, I'm not a Christian. What do you think about this country of ours being, as so many argue on Christian-based, Judeo-Christian society that we were raised in, and we can't refuse that. What do you think about that argument in the history context of this country alone?
Well, the Judeo-Christian influence is actually
pretty common in this country still.
Well, the point I was going to lead up to, it's actually a copy of things that came out thousands of years before the Christians got a hold of it. And my
Well, sure, but it is what it is. You know what I mean?
yeah, but honestly, they
like my name, for instance.
yeah, the first thing they think of. Yes, I understand where you're coming from. Got any points there you'd like to make?
Well,
I'm sorry.
Actually, I'm trying to collect. I'm going to get one of each: an atheist, some Christians, some Buddhist monks, probably,
right.
some anarchists from the drag, and I'm putting them on an ark by Shoal Creek so we can save Austin from these great floods that are hitting us lately.
Yes, that's Hurricane Madeline raining down on us.
You got it. You got it, man. We got to save Austin, man. We're all drowning here. Now, I'm all for you guys, and I'm just glad there's some kind of organization that's able to defend, free thought, at least in this country, which is exactly what this country's about, man.
Thank you.
So,
I appreciate your call.
Cool.
Okay, let's go on down to Leroy.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Not much.
I would like to say that, first off, that I really do enjoy your show. It's very thought-provoking, and it's worth waking up every Sunday morning just to catch you.
Thank you.
And I don't want this to sound very oppositional, but I'll just have a go at it, and we'll see how that goes. Last week, you had a gentleman on. I don't remember who it was.
Jeff D, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he mentioned a couple of things like absolute certainty and the fact that we're waiting for proof to make up our minds about what's going on. A couple of other notes that I wrote down. I don't think I'll go into all of them. But the point I wanted to make was that it sounds a lot like you guys are describing more of an of an agnostic approach than an atheistic approach. And I've been wondering, since you guys are obviously very intelligent people, why you would limit yourself by taking one side of an opposition of a debate, or I guess now we would look at it as a fight, instead of, and you would limit yourself by taking one side instead of taking an overall holistic approach.
And that's an excellent question, and we get that a lot. The proof, the one that makes the extraordinary claims must come up with the extraordinary proof there. And so instead of, the evidence is so overwhelming, the fact there is no God, that we'll go with that, saying that. But there is no absolute truth in science. It's constantly evolving, constantly changing with the evidence that is presented each new day. So
I understand that I understand the point that you're making. It's just that I guess your show has actually answered my question of why you would need to actually have an atheist society, and the fact that if you do not have some kind of opposition to the people who are apparently on an onslaught. Well, I hate to term it as all Christians, because there are different sects and different kinds of Christianity that we can't just holistically blame it on all Christians. But I understand that there are the more extreme groups that, if they do not have some kind of opposition, which is the Atheist Society, and I guess some others that are much more radical, to keep them in check, then they'll just run amok, which is, I guess, what they have been doing. Especially, could you elaborate on what was going on at that funeral with the people protesting?
From what I understand, that church was the only one that was protesting, but they had the sign saying AIDS cures fags, and that just blows away because the kid was murdered. It had nothing to do with AIDS.
It's absolutely ridiculous. And the longest time I've always claimed myself to be agnostic, because I'm trying to take a bigger approach and waiting for proof and all this stuff. But if that's the kind of action that one side's going to take, and to keep them in check, I guess I'd much rather proclaim myself to be an atheist.
There you go. That's one good reason right there. An agnostic says, I don't know, but I can look at protests like that and say, I know, that's wrong.
Well, also, you have experts on to talk about all the scientific proof and all of the stuff that's going on, and you all claim that it's for an atheist approach, but that's only information, and it can be used in any direction that you'd like. I like to claim myself to be agnostic, but I'm also an anthropologist, or I was a minor in anthropologist, and I understand all of the different understand all of these different kinds of things just can be interpreted. It's not really a matter of claiming yourself an atheist. It's just some kind of regular information. It's what you do with it.
Yeah, so that's where I prefer the definition that we have no beliefs on or about the supernatural. It's up to you guys to define God. You're the ones that's saying that He exists, not you personally. I'm sorry, the Christian. You know, anybody who says that there is a God, it's up to them to define that God and then prove that God exists.
Well, I would say just for the sake of opposition and keeping people in sake that I'm now going to have to change my definition of what I am to being more atheist, just for the fact to keep others in check, or just yeah, I guess that would be it.
And we meet every Sunday down at the Hot Jumbo Bakery at 5th and Vaca. We always love to meet new atheists. Huh?
Keep it up. You did a good job.
Thank you. It's going down the line. Jeff?
Hi, guys.
Hi.
In fact, I think I'm the guy that
Yes,
Jeff D.
This is Jeff D. That's so wild. Yes.
How you doing? I just wanted to respond to a couple of things that some previous callers have had to say. First of all, the guy who was just on, I want to mention that I am not an atheist for the purpose of opposing religion. My understanding of the definition of the term atheism is one who does not believe in any gods, and I don't believe in any gods, and so that's why I call myself an atheist. There are, of course, unfortunately, different definitions floating around. A lot of Christians will claim that atheist means somebody who asserts that there is definitely no God, and that is true of some atheists, but not true of all atheists. And there are equally as many definitions of agnosticism floating around. To me, the difference between an atheist and an agnostic is not that they don't both lack a belief in God, because an agnostic lacks a belief. If they think the question can't be resolved, they lack that belief. But an agnostic is one who feels that there is some good reason to seriously keep the question open. And most atheists think that there's really no point to continuing to seriously consider this possibility. There's just no evidence to support that. He was also talking about information is just information and you can interpret it however you want. Well, sure you can, but if you don't interpret it in a rational way, there's no particular reason for anybody to take you seriously. Simple example. Christians say that God created all of the original animals from scratch. Well, when the evidence is that there has been evolution, and then the Christians turn around and say, oh, well, maybe God created evolution, created the process, that's not rational. All they're doing is they're attempting to continue to believe what they have believed all along, no matter what the evidence is. Let's see.
Quickly.
Then, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
A earlier caller said something about the New Testament is the new way.
Right.
I'd just like to know why it ever needed to be the old way. Are these people seriously suggesting that before Jesus it really was okay to conduct genocide? If that's the way it is, and if God is some entity who can completely change the nature of morality just by saying so, then these people are setting themselves up for any religious cult leader to come along and say, well, God has changed the rules now. God says that now we're in a third age, and now love no longer applies, and now we're going to go kill these people or those people or these other people.
Exactly.
These folks that are complaining about those who don't believe in biblical morality having, making up morality as they go, well, look at God. If there's anybody making up morality as he goes, it would be God.
Well, I guess he's allowed to. I can hear the Christians right now saying, well, he's allowed to.
Yeah, well,
he is God.
I wonder why. Thanks very much.
I appreciate your call there, Jeff.
Bye.
All right, let's quickly go to Mike. Mike?
Yeah. John.
Oh, well, yeah, I'll get to John. John's
we only
my
have
last
about
caller.
10 minutes here.
Okay,
Quickly,
Mike.
please.
Go ahead, Mike.
Morning.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm on.
Yes, you are. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, first off, I'm an atheist, so I agree with most of what you say. But I've noticed that lately, it seems like most of this intolerance that you do see from Christians, it comes from the fact that they're losing their toehold in society and they're starting to panic.
Excellent point.
Is that what you see?
I see some of it, and we're getting the crew is agreeing with you here.
I mean, it seems like about every 10 or 15 years they come up with a new sign that Armageddon is imminent, and now they're using year 2K.
Exactly.
I've seen that a lot lately. Anyway, I wanted to comment about the lady a while ago that said you guys look sad.
Yes.
That's nothing could be further from the truth. You guys are great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I really enjoy your show, and keep it up.
I appreciate your call.
Cool. I hope she was watching to hear that.
Yeah, I was hoping she was. Okay, let's go on down to John. John?
Hey, Ray, how's it going?
Excellent. This is John Koontz. He's part of Atheist Community of Austin.
I have a couple of comments and I have a question. Ray, we got the newsletter out today.
Yes.
Is that going to be available down at the...
Oh!
Who's got it?
Oh! I was supposed to pick it up.
That's okay, Ray.
Where is it?
I can go pick it up on the way down. I'm going to be down there.
I'm sorry. I forgot all about that. And please do that. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Thank you.
So the newsletter will be available today at the Hot Jumbo Bagelry. And also, there was a caller that had questions about problems going on in public school.
Right.
If that person was to go down to the bagelry today, I'm going to be there, and I would be happy to talk to that person. There's a lot that can be done.
Thank you.
And my buddy Jim was on the air there talking about some things, and there's a lot that can be done, and not all of it I want to say over the air, but there's some things that we can, help that person with, some advice to give.
I appreciate that.
About the Christian influence in the school.
And we're leaving for the Hot Jumbo Bakery as soon as this show's over. So if they want to get down there like 11 o'clock or so. Okay, anything else?
Just one last thing to say. I noticed that there's a lot of people upset about this comfort cenotaph.
Exactly.
Nobody seems to be upset about the missions that are parks in San Antonio.
Do you know anything about that? I don't know anything about that. I'm sorry.
Well, the missions that the Spanish had set up in the New World are, national parks down there. They have national park people running it.
Now I understand what you're saying, yes.
Which is great because it's a part of history. And we should recognize that. In the same way we should be recognizing the contributions of the Freethinkers in Central Texas, no matter what we may personally think of their views. They had an important place in history and they need to be recognized. So I just need to kind of say that. I'm going to get off the line here and let you get back to the show.
I'm sorry about the newsletter. You called me and I was sick yesterday and I forgot all about it with the rain and everything else.
Well, that's okay. I'm going to go out just right now and go down and pick it up.
I appreciate it.
All right.
Take care.
Thanks.
Yeah, I was supposed to pick up the newsletter.
Cool.
Chaz. Good morning, Chaz.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Quickly.
Atheist. Kind of explain it a little bit.
Okay, I can give a real quick definition. An atheist is a person who does not have a set or a system of beliefs on or about the supernatural, and the supernatural includes all kinds of things like the supposed supernatural powers of tarot cards or voodoo or Santeria. But then you also have the silly things, Mary in a taco shell, or Mary's statue bleeding tears, and when it actually turns out to be a broken sewer line above her statue or something. Does that come close to what you were thinking?
Well, I think caller had a point, but go ahead. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, I was are you guys you believe in scientific theory?
Yeah, quite a bit of it, yes.
Like Big Bang?
Yes.
Evolution?
Yes.
Okay, so it's you believe in proven fact?
I'm convinced. There's no 100% true science, because science is constantly learning. But I'm convinced of those facts, yes.
Okay, not like in, religion is based on faith.
Correct.
Okay, yeah, because it's not proven. It's just, whether you want to believe or not.
Excellent point. Yeah, they tell you how to think.
Yeah, I mean, because, the Bible is just interpretations, I guess, so people, they have faith, but they believe in what people wrote, thousands of years ago, and they have faith in what, different interpretations that these people had.
Right.
So, it's kind of, I don't know, to me it's kind of ridiculous, So.
I appreciate your comment.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Well, I guess one more caller, and then we'll go to that. Clayton?
Hi guys, how's it going?
Excellent.
Yeah, I was calling because, today's topic was tolerance,
Right.
And one thing that I wanted to point out to you, I have a couple of points, but one thing was that you have a placard there on the desk that says, "Take your God and shove it," and I don't consider that to be extremely tolerant or indicative of any sort of tolerance. Now, I am an atheist, however, I have no truck with many of the atheist communities. However, you know, but in as much, I don't have truck with these communities because I feel like it's a bit of like peer necessity. You have to have someone to, you know, be friends with. You have to have, you know, acceptance from peers. And I mean, if we could arrive at some incontrovertible denouement, then I think it would, you know, provide an excellent source of intercommunicative, you know, material. And you're talking about how you believe in science, and I do believe that certain things have been proven, you know, incontrovertibly, such as evolution. I don't think we could deny that dinosaurs existed. I don't think we could deny that various species which are no longer in existence at one time did exist.
Right.
And we have proof of this, incontrovertible evidence. Now, we talk about something. The three of you are extremely tolerant. In fact, I would more than likely consider you apogenously bovaristic, coprolalial, daisy-pidgel, Cerberus, Fascinoris, Naphonic, Curacine, Ethiophalic, Jumentus.
But that was very interesting.
Excellent call to end on.
That's just what I said to myself this morning.
Can I explain real quick why we put stickers like
Sure,
that up
go
here
right
real
ahead.
quick? And it does appear to be somewhat intolerant. I would like to explain that, though. It is the same thing as saying, take your intolerance and shove it. And I think that's a positive thing. Take negativity and get rid of it. Human beings are much better to think with than other things, supernatural God ideas, not being positive. We put these up here to let people know that it's okay to go ahead and say, kick those silly ideas out. Kick the word of the Lord down the street. You'll be better off. Thanks.
All right, and then want to thank Julie Fisher again for coming to today's show. And being live TV, we have our time keeping callers on topics. But do wish you luck there on your cenotaph there, and definitely keep us up to date. We're in contact with the group all the time, so we'd like to have a dedication, and we'd like to show up for that.
I think it will happen.
That was our plan, October 4th, and it never came through. Sorry about that. Guess we did have some music we just wanted to play.
Yeah, go ahead, Arlo. Thanks a lot, Austin, as we close out.
We love you, Austin, and we're going to do...
This is a little music.
Go ahead, Joe, introduce it.
Dave Bone and the Troublemakers. If we've got it, Jonestown. Thank you.